All right. Rock and roll. Welcome to the Scorched Earth podcast for February 8th, Saturday, February 8th. 24 hours until the Super Bowl. Maybe a little longer, depending when you're listening. If you could, please hit the subscribe, hit the like button. And I will tell you, we're going to do something new. We're going to change it up a little here. Leave any questions you got in the comments, and I will try and answer. That's assuming I'm able to read, okay? That's public education. It wasn't that good, okay? So don't use too many bisyllable words, right? Iambic pentameter, I don't need no stinking iambic pentameter, okay? Let's just keep it cool here, okay? Don't use the big brain on the little brain here, okay? All right, well, the national holiday, that is the Super Bowl, is tomorrow. I don't know who you got. Philadelphia, Kansas City. You know, I'm kind of rooting for the underdog, Philadelphia, but man, it would be really nice to see Kansas City win that third Super Bowl in a row. I mean, really, I never thought we'd see that in our lifetime with free agency, injuries, or whatever, but talk about Jesus walking on water. That Patrick Mahomes, man, he is something special. And now, you know, you get all the rumors about, you know, the NFL wants the Chiefs to win and they do all kinds of shenanigans. And I don't know. I don't really buy into all the conspiracy theories. Guess that's why I'm a Democrat. But you see what you want to see, you know. And I look, there's bad calls in the playoffs. I remember a couple years ago, and I don't mean to bring this up for super producer Stacy, but a couple years ago in the playoffs, New Orleans got robbed on the Rams route, on the Rams journey to the Super Bowl. And, you know, there was a pass interference call that was just, oh my God, literally, I didn't think they were just going to throw a flag. What the Rams did to the New Orleans receiver, I didn't think they were just going to throw a flag. I thought literally police officers were going to come on the field and arrest the defensive back for the Rams. No flag. New Orleans doesn't go to the Super Bowl. The Rams end up going. You know, they lost to New England that year, but man, you know, sometimes there's just bad calls. It just happens. If you're LeBron James, if you're Patrick Mahomes, you're going to get some calls other guys wouldn't. But if you look at a game, Philadelphia, whatever, Philadelphia got calls in the series, in the game with Washington. They got a couple calls against the Rams. You know, don't tell me it's all about one or two calls because, you know, there's just so much that goes on. And I'm not getting into the conspiracy of the refs are fixing the games and all that stuff. I just don't have enough energy. My energy is devoted to you, the faithful podcaster, listener. And I will tell you this, that as my journey goes, as I'm learning about my iPhone, I had an accessory that goes in there to my headset, which is a 3.0 jack. It's you know, it's like the tip of a spear, and it goes into the thing. And I was calling people on my way home today, and nobody could hear me. And I was like, man, what's going on? Did I screw up my iPhone? Did I do this? Because super producer Stacy and I went into Verizon to try and get my Siri to work, okay? God bless that girl. She's got more patience than Job. I'm telling you right now. And I go in there, and I guess to set up Siri, you typically have to utter like 4 or 5 phrases. This guy set it up, really helpful. And then next thing I know, I'm going outside and I got 150 phrases I've got to say. I mean, like literally, I didn't know there was that many words in the English language. And Stacy finally called it after like 10 phrases. She's like, man, this isn't right. And I said, Stacy, I got 140 more to go. And she's like, no, there's something wrong. And I was like, okay, well, let me just head over to the other Verizon store, you know, because, hey, I just like hanging out in the Verizon store all day, you know? Yeah, me and my homies, even though I don't understand what they're doing and they don't understand what I'm doing. We're almost on a first-name basis. I spend any more time there, they're going to put me on the payroll. And let me tell you, They don't want me on the payroll because I am not answering anybody's questions. All right. Let's start out with some heartfelt good cheer from President Trump. According to NPR yesterday, he revoked Joe Biden, former President Joe Biden's security clearance for documents in the White House. Sure, that really crushed Joe. So one of the things that happens when you're president and then you leave office is they typically give you daily security updates. They keep you in the loop. And the reason they do this is to keep former presidents aware. And also, if you are a president, you can call them for advice and they're kind of already in the loop. They may not have all the cabinet meetings and security meetings that you do, but they have a general idea of what the data says in Gaza or Syria or what's going on with different things domestically. Well, can't understand how Joe did this one. This is tit for tat. Okay, this is the pissing contest between Biden and Trump. So in 2021, I don't know if we can all remember back that far, after the failed insurrection and riot at the Capitol building, of course, let's not forget, Trump pardoned 1,500 people who injured 174 police officers. Let's not forget that. Biden revoked Trump's daily briefings and security clearance. All right, well, here we go, 4 years later. Sorry. So Trump said in his statement on Truth Social that the reason he was revoking it is because Biden wasn't cognitively there. Okay, yeah. I think we already paid the big price because we lost the election, okay? Good luck. Here we go, right? Tit for tat. Even in the elite circles, it's always a pissing contest. F them all. They don't know. None of them need it. Forget them. You know what I mean? Once they leave, get rid of the security detail. You want to give them two? Fine. But just get rid of it all. We don't need it. Okay? You want to start cutting money? Wait till Trump leaves. Let's get rid of his Secret Service detail. Let's get rid of Biden's. He's got plenty of money. Trump's got plenty of money. We don't need to be spending our money on that, right? Let's put it back into something that matters. Scorched Earth podcast. That's what I'm talking about. I am going to tell you a little story today. So, has this ever happened to you? I was hanging out at Chick-fil-A with super producer Stacy, and this guy came by, and he knew me. We had worked together a long time ago. And he was like, "Hey, JT." Yeah, I know. On the street, my name is JT. In cultured society, it's John. John Esquire, John T. But on the street, where I run, because, hey, I'm just a tough hombre, he said JT. And I remembered him, and we started to have a conversation, and I couldn't remember his name. I was like, oh my God, what's this guy's name? Have you ever done that? Somebody come up to you in a place or whatever, and you can't remember their name or whatever? Yeah, that happened to me. So he sits down. We talk for a little bit across the room. He sits down, and I turn to Stacy, and I said, I don't remember his name. And Stacy, always cool under pressure. I'm thinking we finish up at Chick-fil-A. And we're walking out, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, if Stacy walks over here, I don't know how to introduce him. And she was one step ahead of me, just like she is on the podcast. She was like hanging out at the door, and she said, hey, I didn't want you to have to be embarrassed by not knowing his name. I was like, thank you. Then, like 2 hours later, it comes to me. So now he said he's going to give me free pizza. He runs a pizzeria. I'm going to be over there. Believe me, you don't get to 600 pounds like me by not eating plenty of pizza, All right. So yesterday on Friday, 19 states started to launch a federal lawsuit against Trump and the Treasury Department to halt access by Elon Musk's Doge staff, which, man, there's some winners there. We're going to have a story about that a little bit later. But it is amazing to me that we are not seeing in the Republican contingent that these people we do not know who they are. I know it was released on Twitter the other day, the 6 names. And then Elon threatened to sue, even though they were retweeting a tweet that he had. God, I got dizzy just saying that. And these people, we don't know who they are or what they're doing. And it is so bloody illegal on every level. I mean, I want you to think about this. In the Treasury Department, they don't share documents with other people, but they run the payment system in this country. So if you've paid your taxes, they have your financial information there. They get to see what you're doing, where you bank, whatever. Now, I'm not saying they're going to steal money, but there needs to be a safe wall or a firewall that protects who sees your data. Because what if they decide to use that against you? It's just, I don't know. It just seems really spooky and really eerie. And look, we're not even 3 weeks in. Monday's 3 weeks. So New York Attorney General Letitia James is leading the lawsuit, talking about the sensitive data, which is at risk with no safeguards, with no guidelines. And we all know how much Trump loves Letitia James and the hush money trial in Manhattan. I'm sure he has nightmares about that powerful black woman every night. She argues that Musk's staff is putting billions of dollars at risk and people's personal data with no accountability. We'll see what happens. It just, I don't know. It doesn't really matter who the power broker is. Both of them. I mean, think about this. If they get away with this and they can access our personal data, do you really think, what's the incentive if a Democrat becomes the president in 4 years for them to go back to the old way? I mean, they all love power. Let's not make any illusions that the Democrats are all about the people. I think they care about the people quite a bit more than the Republicans, but they're all about power too. They want to get reelected. If Christian Whitmer or Gavin Newsom or even Kamala is elected president, they got a shot at a second term. Do you really think they're going to give up power or anything that they can leverage to get that second term? They believe in the people, but to run for president, you have to have an incredible ego. You have to be incredibly narcissistic. I understand it. To get out there for a year and tell people why you need to lead this country. I mean, there's an ego there. Let's not be naive about what that is. These are super narcissistic people on both sides of the aisle, because even though in quote unquote their quiet moments, they tell you they care about you. And I'm not saying they don't. All they want is to get their name in more immortality. Trump is going to be immortal. Now, I would say the Democrats would say he's infamous and immortal, but 200 years from now, kids are going to be, assuming the planet's around, and we're not all living in caves in Antarctica because of global warming, that they're going to know who Trump was, just like we know who Harry Truman was. Who did Harry Truman beat in the election? Nobody knows. Coming in second, sorry. I mean, who did Obama beat in his second run for the presidency? Do you think really in 20 years anybody is going to remember Mitt Romney? No, sorry. He's a great guy. He's cool. There's a lot of cool things about him, but no, nobody's going to remember him. I mean, I'll always remember him from, when Trump got elected, he went to that dinner begging to be Secretary of State. Yeah. All right. What's that taste in your mouth there, Mitt? Yeah. All right, let's get an egg update. Yahoo News is reporting that nearly 23 million chickens have been infected by the virus this month alone. Now, I saw a report, and it was a farm down in San Diego, which I didn't even know they had chicken farms down there. And I'm telling you, it was a sea of chickens. And the only way they can stop the bird flu is basically kill the chickens that they think are infected. And there's so many of them. I don't know what the test is. I don't know if it's a chemical test. I don't know if it's an eye test or whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't want to kill chickens that aren't infected, but they can't really. What can you take a chance on? Killing 100 birds and then maybe not killing these other 20 and they infect the rest of your farm. I don't know how that all works, but Friday, all the live poultry markets in New York City and some of the nearby Westchester and Long Island suburbs were shut down for a week. Didn't we used to hear that about COVID back in the day? I have a really funny feeling that this is going to become a bigger deal. I think everybody is seeing it. And it's so nice that Trump is withdrawing funding for health organizations, WHO. Great. Because we don't, and we got Robert Kennedy as the director of Health and Human Services, a guy who doesn't believe in vaccines, a guy who was a drug addict, 14 years doing heroin. This is the guy who's going to lead us out of the bird flu. Good luck. You know what I recommend to my audience? And thank gosh we're small, right? Is get a spacesuit and put it on you. Make sure you got an air conditioner because it's getting a little hot. Put the spacesuit on and just literally live there for the next 4 years. If Robert Kennedy is the director of Health and Human Services, you're in trouble. We're in trouble. Good luck. The Waffle House, national chain, yesterday put on a 50-cent an egg surcharge. For a year, we were hearing from Trump about how eggs are what got him elected. The price skyrocketing of eggs. Wow, look at that. Most reports, Newsweek reports that the price of eggs have went up 25% just in the 2.5+ weeks that Trump's been in office. Now, the counter argument from the Republicans is, well, he doesn't have any control. Yeah, F you. Nah, sorry. Heavy lies the crown. Because for 4 years, Biden had things out of his control. Why do you think that inflation happened? I'll tell you why that inflation happened. Because Trump gave away $4 trillion to the economy that wasn't earned. Now, look, I agree with what happened there, but that is going to cause inflation. When you just pump money into the economy, it's you know what? We're going to deal with this Monday. I'm getting deviated from here. I got to keep going. Focus. In Southern California, we have a Mexican food chain called Roberto's, excuse me. Didn't want to cross any ethnic lines there. $1.50 surcharge for any egg-related burrito. I don't know where you live, but that's a big thing here in Southern California. Trader Joe's Friday announced that they're going to limit the number of eggs that you can buy to 1 dozen a customer. It's coming everywhere. I actually saw in Costco the other day a cart with probably 40, 50 dozen eggs in it. And I was like, wow. And honestly, this kind of snuck up on me. I mean, I do research every day. There's a lot of different stories going on. Gaza's a big thing. Trump being an idiot's another thing. But this thing is real. I don't think they know how to get a control of it. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to say the number I quoted you the other day from the New York Times was 132 million chickens have been killed in the last 3 months. 75 or 78 million of them were egg producing ones. How long does it take? I'm going to just say, and I didn't do the research on this, just throwing this out, talking out my butt, but I would assume it's going to take 9 months to a year to get chickens raised that can produce eggs, fully matured or whatever. I mean, we're looking at a long, long year. And if I was the Democrats, like I told you, we need to run those ads at the Super Bowl about pardoning the January 6th rioters. Maybe we ought to have a little egg update at the Super Bowl too. Yeah. It's a bitch, karma, isn't it? It's a real bitch. Also, in the lighter side, 67 human infections have happened from the bird flu over 10 states. This flu is called HSN1. There is one human death from it, and we shall see. Trump is going to try to ignore it. I don't know how he's going to do that. Yesterday, in another lighthearted mood, 100,000 organic eggs worth over 40 grand were stolen from a trailer in Pennsylvania. Pete and Jerry's Eggs, organic eggs. It's a pretty interesting name. I got to say, I kind of like it. Pete and Jerry's. It's not like Ben and Jerry's. Pete and Jerry's. Eggs. Who knew we needed you so much? All right. On the lighter side, it's not really lighter. It's just, I got to say that so I don't cry when I'm doing this podcast. Trump is considering Rod Blagojevich. I can't speak. It's too late on a Friday night. Who served 8 years in prison on corruption charges. He's a former governor of Illinois. He's considering him to be the U.S. ambassador to Serbia. Oh, God. I guess John Gotti wasn't available. His sentence was commuted by Trump in 2020. Now, he's called Blago. This dude's just a piece of garbage. I mean, this dude is just corrupt. You know how you meet people and you could just tell they're evil? This dude's just evil. Now, he's the big Trump supporter, Democrat who saw the light. Yeah, it's called you having your sentence commuted. He was convicted, listen to this little litany. He was convicted of 17 federal corruption charges in 2011, including wire fraud. There's a common one among politicians. And conspiracy to solicit bribes. Isn't that what Bob Menendez got railed up on a couple weeks ago? And I'm so angry at how the Trump administration is giving blanket immunity to these congressmen and senators and politicians to be able to inside stock trade. I'm telling you, the Democrats do it as much as the Republicans. Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, they were doing it, and it is so terrible. But now we're dealing with a situation where the corruption or the lack of safeguards against corruption is non-existent. And do you really think Elon Musk is scared? Because even if there is criminal prosecution coming at him, which I don't know who that is. I mean, Letitia James is trying to do it. And maybe it works on the state level because Trump can't pardon him out of it. Everybody knows that Trump's going to do, at the end of his term, he's going to do exactly what Biden did, squared. He's going to pardon everybody who even came close to it. And let me tell you, that list is going to be longer than the Manhattan phone book. All right. And from can the Nazi get any more terrible? Elon Musk said he has 6 of these staffers who are just going through computer files at Treasury, USAID, all these different departments. And there's a staffer who resigned on Thursday when it was revealed by the Wall Street Journal, not exactly a paragon of liberal media, that his posts were brought back and they indicated this young man was rather racist. Wow, go figure. His name is Marco Elez. He resigned Thursday after the Wall Street Journal reported that he made comments supporting racism and eugenics. Let's get to some of the quotes for the young man. Just for the record, this is a quote from August. Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. I'm sure you were. Marco. You could not pay me to marry outside my ethnicity. Now that, from everything I read about him, is kind of a crazy statement because, first of all, I don't know if he's part of the human species, this POS. I don't even know, can he To me, this dude is scum. I wouldn't even want a human to marry him. Mother effer. And then he says, normalize Indian hate. What a shock. He deleted the X account. J.D. Vance, though, God love him, doubles down on it. Remember, he's married to an Indian woman. Said on X, I say bring him back. Trump doubled down, said, well, if J.D. said to, yeah, I'm down with that too. Musk brought him back after he polled X users, and he said the results were 78% in favor and 22% opposed. Now, for all you people out there, this just gives you a little preview of the upcoming Russian and Chinese elections, which are fair, just like polling on X. Yeah, sure is. One final quote. This will end the podcast for tonight from our little boy Marco. He said on X before he deleted the account, I would not mind at all if Gaza and Israel were both wiped off the face of the earth. Yeah, maybe so we could put a Trump tower over there. All right. Please leave your comments. I'll try and respond to them. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and you have a wonderful day. And if you don't listen to me before the Super Bowl, you're not cool, man. It's going to be a big Super Bowl show tomorrow. All right.